This tutorial will focus on image backgrounds, which means about placing images in the background of a page, but also we'll look at placing images on the background of a table and the use for that and how it can really be useful when we're laying out our website and laying out the navigational structure and sidebars, etc. So it can be very useful for the whole idea of design and laying out differentiating backgrounds from different sections on the website. So we'll start off by having a look at what the different things about backgrounds are. Well, for starters, putting a background into a page or indeed putting a background into a table is a very, very simple task. What is important though is to decide upon which is the right background for this. So during this tutorial, I'm going to look at certain images which work as backgrounds and certain ones that don't work as backgrounds. I'm also going to identify why they don't work and therefore hopefully figuring out a way of making backgrounds work better for us. So the first thing we're going to do is place a background into our website, and then we're going to look at the actual HTML around what a background looks like and so on. But also we're going to put in bad backgrounds just to show you that some don't really work and the reason why they don't work. And then we're going to move on to non-scrolling backgrounds. So I'm going to jump across into Expression and we'll start looking at backgrounds here. So as I said to you before, adding a background to a page is actually a very, very simple task. So all we need to do is right click our page and go Page Properties. From there, we can just go into the second tab up here on top, which is Formatting. And from there, we can actually add a background image. So I'm just going to click on that and then I'm going to browse for my image. Now, I'm going to just show you, first of all, some images work better than others. I have a number of backgrounds here that some work better than other ones. And we'll see as we go down through them which ones work and which ones don't. Okay, so I'm going to add, first of all, a background which doesn't work. Okay, this one here is obviously an image of a sky, and it's going to open that, and then I'm going to go open that. And what you see is when I preview the page is that, for starters, the background interacts badly with the text. So in other words, there's no contrast between the background and the text. But more importantly, we can see very obviously that the background repeats across the screen and down along the screen. In other words, what is called the background is tiling. And this happens automatically with every background. But the beauty of certain backgrounds is certain backgrounds are set up in order to facilitate this a little bit better. So I'm going to just jump back into Expression here. I'm going to add a different background to this one here. So again, right click, Page Properties, go into Formatting, and then choose a background. So I'm just going to choose a better one this time. I'm going to choose this one here, which is a wall. Okay, so I'm just going to click on Open That and OK. Now, when I preview this in the browser, you'll see this one looks way better. I mean, way, way better than the previous image that we used. Now, after saying that, this image is tiling across the screen, but it's set up to tile across the screen. So you can actually see that it actually is a bit like wallpaper. It just, it matches. Its right side matches its left and its top side matches its bottom. So therefore it actually just, it tiles very nicely across the screen and takes a blank look off a page. So that one works quite well. Okay, so I'm just going to just look at one which kind of works halfway in between this time. Okay, so again, same idea, right click, Page Properties, and into Formatting. I'm going to choose this one here, which is it's a yellow page. Okay, yellow paper. I'm just going to go open that. Okay, now when I look at this on a bigger screen, you'll notice that it actually works quite well for about half the screen, but then it actually doesn't tile very well just along here. So you can actually see a break, and you can see that, you know, this will work better maybe on a smaller screen, all right, like that. The only problem is it's very hard for us to decide and to understand and to be sure what size screen people are going to use. So by and large, we have to go for the lowest common denominator and make sure that it works on all screens. Okay, so in this case here, I'm going to go back to the previous background here, with the wall, because that one works quite well. Now, I'm not trying to say we need to put a background image on our web page. So many don't use them at all, but this is how you do it if you want to use one. So I'm just going to go into page properties here, and I'm going to go back to my my wall image here, and I'm just going to go OK. So that's simply adding an image to a background. I'm going to show you that, you know, we can actually stop images tiling if we want to, and I'll show you how you do that on another example in a few minutes. Okay, but in the meantime, I'm going to look at maybe adding a background image to a cell or a background image to a table. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to add the background image to the entire table. This is very useful if we're using tables to lay out the structure of our web page. Okay, so we can use it for formatting. We can have a sidebar, which is a different color, or we can have a header or a footer, which are different colors and so on, or different backgrounds. So in this case, what I'm going to do is right click my table, go into table properties. And then when I go down here, you can see use background picture. I'm going to tick that, and I'm going to browse for a picture. I'm going to use this one back for the table here, just to show you. This one tiles quite well, and you can see it there. Okay, so that tiles all the way across the table. I can do the exact same thing for a cell by right clicking, going into cell properties and changing the background of a particular cell if I want to. Again, that can be used for sidebars, it can be used for navigational bars, it can be used for headers and footers, it can be used for floating tables in any way you want to, and you can really spice up your web page by doing that. So I'm just going to preview my page here. I'm going to scroll down here to my table, and you can see that my table has a different background than the rest of the page. Okay, and of course I can hide my table. So if I wanted to, I can hide the actual borders, and just it would have a different background in a certain section. So that can be maybe a notice board or something like that. Could be work very well with that type of scenario. Right, so that's backgrounds in pages when you want them to tile across the screen, and backgrounds in tables. I'm going to have a quick look here at adding a background to a page where I don't want the entire background to tile. Okay, and that can be quite useful. I'm going to create a brand new page here. I'm going to call it, save it as tutorial. (7b). Save that. So at the moment, I'm nothing on my page whatsoever. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to go, and it's the first time I'm going to use CSS or styles and so on. So I scroll down here until I find style, which is just here, and I double click on that. Now what I want to do is I want to go down here and I want to go for background, and I'm going to change the background of my page. So it's the exact same thing as I was doing before, except I'm changing the background of my entire page using CSS styles. Okay, cascading style sheets. So background image, I'm going to browse for my background image. I'm going to use, this time I'm going to use a TU Dublin logo. Now a faded TU Dublin logo, so it doesn't interact with my text, which will go in front of this, or my content, which will go in front of this. So I'm going to just open that. Okay, so at this point in time, if I just went OK, it would be the exact same as me right clicking a page and going into page properties and changing the actual background picture on this. So it would repeat across the screen or tile across the screen. So the next question I'm asked is background repeat, and I'm going to say no repeat, which means that it's only going to, the image only going to go onto the page once. Okay, if I wanted to, I could say repeat, which is the exact same as before, repeat X, repeat Y. Okay, which means it will go horizontally or vertically across the screen or down the screen. Background attachment. Okay, I'm going to say fixed, which means that my image will stay fixed. I'm going to go no repeat, sorry. Will stay fixed in the center of my screen by going center, and center means that it will be in the center of my screen. I can fix the image in 9 different positions: top left, top center, top right, middle, left, center, and right, and then bottom left, center, or right. Okay. You quite often see logos of companies on the bottom right hand corner of your screen as well, which means it will always stay there. In my case, what I'm doing is I'm putting it in the center. I'm going to fix it in the background of the center. Okay, and I'm just going to go, that's all I need to do here. I'm going to go OK. Okay, now at the moment my image is here, it's in my background. I really can't see if my page is scrolling or not, so I'm going to just get some text from a Word document that I have here. I'm going to just copy that and I'm going to just paste it in here. Okay, so I'm going to paste it in a few times. I'm going to just take everything and center it. Okay, so you can see that it goes across in front of my background image there, and then I'm just going to preview it in the browser. Now, at the moment, my image is behind, my logo is behind my text, as you can see. But more importantly, my text will move across my logo like this, okay? Now, I could fade my logo more if I wanted to, if it interacts with my text or whatever. I just wanted to show you a very simple example where you put an image into your background. It can be any image you want as long as it your text and content is visible in front of it, and it'll stay where you want it to stay, so it doesn't repeat across the screen. So that's a very simple example of first of all, background images, table images, and then ones where you're actually floating above, your text is floating above your image, which is non-scrollable. Okay.